What do you got, Coach? 3 things that all coaches need.
Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of coaches?
New York or the Aces? Definitely going with the Aces.
All right, 4th down. Who has the tougher job, coaches or officials? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? For Texas, it's different.
We in here. Once again, it's on. This is the Coaches Co-op, where coaches connect, grow, and share the grind. I'm your host, Michael Prejean, better known as Coach P. Each week, I am teaming up with coaches across the country to break down the wins, the lessons, and everything in between. This week, I am teaming up with Thomas Williams Jr., TJ Williams. All right, let me tell you something about this gentleman. He is the Vice President of Basketball Operations for the NBL United States, okay? It is the only FIBA-sponsored league in the United States of America. He is a graduate of the Southern University Baton Rouge. He is a 2-time SWAC champion in baseball, where he played for the Hall of Famer Roger Cador. Drafted in 1997 by the Chicago White Sox, had a 2-year professional career that unfortunately ended shortly because of injury, played 2 years of pro ball. He is a father of 4, the co-owner of Gemini Sports and Apparel, as well as a partner of the New Era Sports Management Company. Y'all welcome to the stage with your real hands, with your virtual hands, Thomas Williams Jr. TJ, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Wow, that was an excellent intro. That sounds like somebody that might be important. Who's that guy?
Hey, listen, man, I'm just reading the words that are on the page. Everybody gets to see you, gets to meet you. All right. So when we get into the co-op, here's the very first thing that we do. This segment is called Talk That Talk. All right. I love giving all of our guests the opportunity to highlight all of the good things that are going on where they are. So, TJ Williams, I need you to talk that talk about all of the great things going on with the NBL United States. Go.
All right, Coach P. First of all, man, thank you for the invite. Thank you for the opportunity to have a platform to be here to talk about the National Basketball League, United States. We, as you said, we're the only FIBA-certified league in the country. We offer opportunities for unsigned players starting at age 16. You know, there is no cap on the age. You know, in that international brand of basketball, you can become a professional, usually starting at the age of 14. So we're following the same model. We're going to be introducing some new innovations this year in the game that we'll talk about, you know, later on in the process. We don't want to exactly spill the beans on these new things right now. We have international partnerships around the country right now. We have 8 international partners, which is our main partner is the NBL Philippines under the direction of Madame Rose Montreal. We've actually been under their umbrella now from our inception. She's our main partner. We'll be having a Unification Cup for the first time this year, likely in the Philippines, where our champion will play theirs. So we're very excited about that. We're hoping to also launch the WNBLUS in 2027. So young ladies will also have the same opportunities. Right now, we are an exposure league. The plan is to be a completely funded and paid league in the next 3 years. We've actually been around since 2020. We're going into our 7th season. During COVID, we were the only league other than the NBA to actually crown a champion. We started in COVID, got 2 games in, had to shut down, came back that summer, crowned the champion in San Antonio, and we've been moving forward ever since.
Man, that's good stuff there. Good stuff. The only league to crown a champion other than the NBA during COVID, the only FIBA-certified league in the United States of America, 16 and up, because, again, FIBA, professional, starts a little bit earlier, and then the WNBL US coming in 2027.
Yes, sir.
Man, lots of good stuff going on there. Okay, so what I like to do is let's go back. Let's talk about your athletic background, okay? Mentioned earlier that you're a 2-time conference champion at Southern University Baton Rouge, playing under Roger Cador. But I want to go even back before then.
Okay.
So how did you get involved in athletics? What was your favorite sport growing up?
So, man, wow. Come from an athletic family, man. Educators and coaches all the way through. Man, big shout out, big love to one of the most inspirational people in my life, my uncle, Johnny Williams, rest in peace, who was head coach in Vermilion Parish at Gaydon High School, my birthplace. And outside of my father, that was the first real influence from a sports perspective. So, you know, growing up small town, between 2 small towns, cousins always in the street playing sports, whatever we had, we played, whatever was in season. But honestly, man, my first love was basketball. I knew, and I always did know, that I was a better baseball player. But my first love was basketball. You know, getting my head thumped on by my older cousins, you know, playing street ball. I had an uncle of mine, my Uncle Dale, who's only like 11 years older than myself, watching him play high school basketball in the gym, you know, and then my dad, man, just in the backyard, tossing the ball, learning fundamentals. You know, it just came natural. It was just a natural progression for me.
That's good. That's good. So how many sports did you play in high school?
2. I played basketball and baseball.
Okay. At the Washington Marion High School.
Yes, sir.
In Lake Charles, Louisiana. Now, there are people who may be watching or listening who have no inkling about the history of Washington Marion. So I want to, you know, ask you right now, man, give us some of the background about Washington Marion and what it was like to play there.
Well, one of the biggest things, man, is, you know, Washington-Marion was the combination of 2 schools on the north side of Lake Charles. You know, AA school initially and a AAA school, both powerhouses on the north side, merged to make, you know, one great school for all things, not just athletics, because Washington Marion to this day still is a magnet high school. Yeah. So the school excels in both athletics and academics. So it was always my dream to play there, although I wasn't in district. But because it was a magnet school, I did make the grade, so I was able to go to the school and compete. I competed and played under legendary coach Clyde Wilkins there at Washington Marion. Let's see, who have we've produced several pros, most notably Eddie Kennison of LSU fame and beyond. Shout out to my former teammate, Brandon Winey, who had a very successful career in NFL. And that's just 2 to name a few that kind of escaped me at the moment, but there have been several, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So always knew you were better in baseball. Yeah. What was it like to have to put the round ball down and then to pick up the baseball full time and then play at Southern University?
So the funny thing about that question is that I never really put the basketball down. In my freshman year, I actually sprained my ankle playing basketball back in the back on the courts my freshman year, right as we were in the hunt and in the thick of conference. And at that time, I was in the starting rotation. So I'm out for a minimum of 2 weeks with a sprained ankle. Lied to the media about it, but told Coach Kadar the truth. I mean, it's on campus. It's not like he wasn't going to find out. He knew, even before I came to him and told him what happened. So technically, I never really did put the ball down. But I mean, I just, I had to work at basketball. Baseball just really came naturally, all the way from I remember the first time even picking up a baseball at 5, catch, throw, hit. It just really came naturally. Basketball was something that I had to work at. And not until I got to the professional ranks and beyond did I understand the level of work that it really takes to be a sustaining pro. Yeah. It's not just being a hard worker, which I put in the time and the work to get there, but to stay there, you have to be amazingly focused on the craft.
Okay, so I want to come back to that, but I want to talk about, because we're having the conversation, and you said I sprained my ankle playing in the back. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly where you were. But for those who may be watching or listening, and they don't know the diagram, they don't know the geography of Southern University's campus in Baton Rouge. So when you say the back, where exactly were you on campus playing?
Okay, so I was in the back of campus, man, in the freshman complex. So, Bowley Hall area back there. It's all the way in the back of the campus, 3 dormitories, one for young ladies, one for men. And then there's another that's like a sophomore dorm. 4 different goals on the blacktop with potholes.
That's what I wanted you to hit.
Have been.
Yeah. That's what I wanted you to hit.
Yeah. Somewhere I shouldn't have been in the first place, especially not at the hour that I was there. Yeah.
In the back of campus.
Being a knucklehead, being irresponsible, me and my roommate. Yeah, in the back of campus. Should have been asleep. Out there 10:30 at night trying to play basketball.
Yeah, but we're gonna really turn this, into a positive and focus on how intense of a competitor you were, because it was hard for you to put that round ball down. You were intensely competitive to the point that even though you were in the middle of conference season, you were out there playing on the blacktop with potholes in it. And that's what I wanted the people to really hear and understand, that wasn't an indoor court back there. That was outdoors on 4 playground type rims.
Gravel.
Man.
Yes.
It was rough back there. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're talking loose gravel. We're not talking like we have here in Texas, man, with the covered courts and the water fountains and the whole. No, that's not what we're talking about.
Listen, so if you
that's how I grew up.
That's it. So you playing back there, man, you was really trying to get it in.
Yeah.
You were really trying to get it in. Okay, man, so let's talk about
you got to understand, man, for 20 kids in Little Gaydon, Louisiana, walking 1.5 miles to 3 uptown, jumping a 7-foot fence to go uptown and play basketball on the same kind of court with cracks and grass growing in it. I mean, that's just how I grew up, man.
Yeah. A lot of us from neighborhoods in South Louisiana, probably neighborhoods in North Louisiana, probably neighborhoods in Central Louisiana, grew up playing on courts like that. But you said your natural skill was in baseball. So I want to talk about, first, let's talk about this. Tell me about your recruitment process. Tell me about the process that got you onto Southern's campus.
Well, to be honest with you, man, I went to a school that was not a baseball school. As a matter of fact, I think we may have, in my 4 years there, we may have won 6 games. We were not a baseball school at all. But I played in the summer. So, of course, I played in the summer with better teams. I played with guys that were heavily recruited, from the other side of town at Barb High School. But I really didn't get very many looks at all, man. As a matter of fact, I did not sign until late into my senior year. I had spoken with Coach Cador previously at one of the major league tryout camps in Alexandria. As a matter of fact, our high school coach would drive those of us that he thought had potential up to tryout camps, and Coach Cador and brought a couple of guys there, and that was our introduction. But I didn't have any offers until very late into my senior year at the tail end of baseball season.
Okay, so what was it like meeting Coach Kadar for the first time?
Well, first of all, Coach was like 6'6", you know what I'm saying? And at that time, he was, in his 40s, so he's a huge guy, you know what I'm saying? Really towering, but he always had that smile that would kind of, bring some of the tension down from his size. He was a huge guy with a really big personality, but you kind of would get a little bit thrown off because Coach is from New Roads. So it's like, all right, this guy is the coach at this university. Yeah. Interesting. But it was very familiar, for me growing up in Lake Charles and having family from, Kadar and Vinton, Louisiana. It felt like I kind of knew it going into that whole process. Now, the thing that doesn't happen when, you're being recruited at Southern by Coach Cador, he does not tell you if you come here, you're going to play. That's not how this goes.
Yeah.
So, you get an opportunity. We work out all of the paperwork, the financials and everything. So, now it's, hey, I'm on campus. So I'm expecting, all right, I'm on campus. I'm going to see what I'm accustomed to seeing from baseball. It's nothing like that. There's like 50 guys. Yeah, there's like 50 guys on the field, and it's a tryout. Literally, it's a tryout. And I'm like, I've got a scholarship, and I'm trying out for the team to get on the field. I don't really, I don't really know what's happening here. But from day one, it was competition.
Yeah.
Before we ever saw anyone else, it was in-house competition. And I came in, with my freshman class, like there were 9 of us, 6 of us started. So we had a really strong freshman class. We didn't win the conference that season, but the next season with, sophomores as the flagships, we won the conference.
Yeah. Very, very, very good baseball players. So, because I'm trying to get people to understand this experience, okay, of playing very successful, winning baseball at an HBCU. So you're on the pitching staff.
Yeah. I know where you're trying to go with this.
Yeah, you're on the pitching staff. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Talk about that experience.
Well, the thing about those days at an HBCU is that we were as much of a part of building as the university and the coaching staff, in the sense that everything was in-house. Everything was small. Everything that we did we either had to build or maintain ourselves. You don't have grounds crew. You don't have,
right,
all of this support staff that you would have across the bridge at an LSU. So we're the grounds crew. We're the guys who maintain the field. We help with some of the locker room amenities and things of that nature while being ball players ourselves. So, for instance, at that time, our batting cage was under the infamous hump right there at Southern University, made out of poles and literal shrimp net, man. I mean, whatever was available is what we used, and we made the most of the opportunities.
Listen, here's my hump story. Okay. And it's not about running over the hump. It's not about running to the airport and having to come back over the hump. It's not about any of those things.
Which we did.
We did those things. So I missed. This is my sophomore year. Okay. So I messed my knee up, had to have knee surgery my freshman year. Coach Cador told me I was soft. Okay. That's the first thing. He told me I was soft because I had to have surgery. So my sophomore year, I missed the first Saturday practice. It's me, Babyface, and my roommate Cedric Robertson. We just got wasted the night before, and all three of us slept through practice. Well, Babyface had SWAC hours. My roommate was a true freshman. He had USA Today clippings. He didn't know any better. This is what I was told. He didn't know any better. I had been there a year and still had a lot to prove.
So you were the casualty.
Man, was I the casualty? So, PJ, the entire fall, he didn't let me scrimmage one time. Actually, I got one at bat the entire fall. We get into the spring. I never forget, man, we're going cross town to play LSU. Okay. We had just got these new long sleeves. Coach Kadar gave me some sleeves, man, that had bleach stains on them. And he said, you get these. So I'm like, oh, man. So a couple of weeks later, man, maybe it's around spring break time, somewhere in like that, man, and we got a scrimmage, right? There's a little break. Something's going on. So I just asked him, I said, Coach, I was tired. I was like, man, Coach, can I scrimmage today? He said, you know what you can do? You can go under the hump and swing till your hands bleed. I was like, wow. Man, I went back to the dugout. I took my spikes off, and I just walked back to the dorm that day. Man.
My question to you is, did you ever have regret about it?
Man, I didn't. When I walked away, I could honestly say I was actually done. I thought I was going to regret it. Law called me. Flowers called me. And I was at the time, okay, so I'm a 19-year-old kid at the time. And man, the way we're raised, we don't go and tell our parents, this and that. So the one thing I regret, I wish I had talked to my mother or father to get guidance. Yeah. That's the one thing I regret. Man, I don't regret going to Southern. I will tell you that. I do not regret going to Southern. I don't regret any of the relationships that I built, any of the friendships that I made. But that day, man, that happened to be that was my last day.
This is the first time I've ever heard any of this story. So yeah, I always wondered, like, okay,
yeah,
I remember you getting hurt. I do remember that. I remember you coming back, and I always thought, I'm like, okay, I knew you didn't know you that well, but I'm like, Mike's a good-looking athlete. Once he gets healthy, he'll be able to help us. And then one day you weren't there anymore, and I'm like,
Man,
like you just weren't there anymore.
that when I tell you, man, I went home once I got healthy. When I tell you, I worked my butt off because I was like, man, I'm getting on that field. I'm not shagging fly balls on the hump this year. Yeah. I'm getting on the field. So the first day, I never forget, man, the first day we got back in the fall, man, Fly was just trying to run us into the ground. And I was in great shape. And I never forget, he was like, okay, I see you, P. I see you. And I was like, man, I'm getting out. Man, missed that Saturday practice. And it was all downhill from there. But man, this is not why we are here. We are not here to talk about this.
Oh man, we got to rehash a little bit of it, man. It had to happen. It had to happen.
Yeah. Two-time SWAC champ. I'm gonna tell you, this is what I remember about you. Your fastball felt heavy. I remember playing catch with you, and I remember having one at bat against you for sure. And I just remember how heavy that ball felt coming into my glove. And I remember fouling a ball off that you threw, and it was almost like you threw it through my bat. I just couldn't get my bat around on that fastball. And I was just like, man, this dude throw hard. So that, I remember Kadar saying this: throwing the fastball to get you to the league, hitting the fastball to get you to the league. I remember Kadar saying that. So would you say that it was your fastball that got you drafted?
Oh, for sure. You know, at my peak, you know, I was topping off at 95 miles an hour, and I was only closing. So, So the thing is, I should have been able to go into the draft really fresh and preserved, but I actually went into the draft injured, you know. But the thing that really made me a successful closer is that I learned that split finger. So learning that split finger going into my junior year is, you know, what really made me hard to deal with.
Man, there's nothing. I don't get the opportunity to get out and catch a lot of baseball like I used to, man. But I'll never forget playing Grambling, you know, and just the trash talk before the game. And I was like, man, I was like, it's like this all the time. And they was like, man, it's like this all the time.
Yeah, SWAC baseball is special, man. It was just special. Man,
very special. And you guys, so in 2003, Ricky Weeks, I believe that's the year, wins the Golden Spikes Award, which goes to the best college baseball player in the United States. But what a lot of people don't know, and I learned this today, is that groundwork was laid with your freshman class.
Yeah.
But
it was laid in the modern day, but there were so many great players, man, that came through Southern and the SWAC, you know, before we were even born. Coach Cador included, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Coach was an amazing baseball player in his own right, in his own day, who never got to the show, but he was right there. He was always in the mix. He made it all the way up to AAA, and in a, you know, real private conversation he and I had, he actually said, you know, one of his regrets was just not playing one more year. He feels like had he played one more season, he would have gotten his opportunity to make it all the way to the show. So, you know, it just goes, that's kind of why I asked you that question, because I know that, you know, some of us do have regrets about the way that our athletic careers went or ended, or the decisions that we made surrounding those things.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, TJ, for me, the last thing I needed as a young man was to be successful enough to be a professional, because my head was not in the right place. You wasn't going to be able to tell me nothing. You know, I'm just being honest, man. I'm being honest, because I wanted to be a pro. I wanted to be a pro ball player. But, you know, in retrospective, hindsight is 2020. I know doggone well I didn't have any business being a professional. because I wasn't mature enough. You know I wasn't mature enough at the time. I had a lot of growing up to do. So let me do my commercial here. Listen, we're going to get back to the conversation in just a second. Remember, here at the Coaches Co-op, we're all about building championship level systems on and off the court. We're going to talk about the championship level system that Thomas Williams Jr. is building with the National Basketball League in just a second. I need to let you all know that this episode is brought to you by the Path for Coaches Volume 1 Mentoring. If you are watching us, look down at the bottom of the screen. You can purchase this at Amazon.com, the Path for Coaches Volume 1 Mentoring. Or if you want to get a copy from me directly, go ahead and send me a DM at podcast_with That's the Path for Coaches Volume 1 Mentoring. Yours truly is one of the authors of this book. Like I say, I think I wrote a pretty good chapter in this book, but it is nowhere near the best chapter in this book. There are some outstanding authors in this book. So if mentoring, leadership is your thing, if you're in a position of leadership or mentoring, you definitely need to check out this book. All right, let's get back to it. We are here in the Coaches Co-op with Thomas Williams Jr. He is the VP of Basketball Operations for the NBL United States. So your professional career is cut short by injury, drafted in 97 by the White Sox. So what became the transition from your athletic career into what you're doing now? What was that transition like?
Well, to be honest, man, I never envisioned myself being here. I have to give a huge thanks to my cousin and business partner, Kevin Williams Sr., who, like yourself, is a basketball guy. He's a basketball coach.
Okay.
Kevin has coached on all different levels in different locations around the world. And he saw basically a deficiency in the basketball market and started the NBL United States. Started the league, gave me a call and said, hey, cuz, would you be interested in running the team? I said, sure. What do I need to do? Said, well, I've got a conference call. Get on the call. Give it a listen. Tell me what you think. And, he being family, being a cousin of mine, we have that connection, and we've had that, had conversations over the years through support. He already was in semi-pro basketball previously with another league, owned a team in Lafayette for a time, and then another team here in Houston. So it was his invitation that even got me involved in sports again. I did not have a hand in any kind of sport, organized or any other whatsoever. I was just being a dad, man, and, raising the family.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're in operations. You're not exactly a coach. You look at yourself as more of a mentor. So what does that mean to you, and how does that shape your approach on the, I guess I'm going to say, behind the scenes? How does that shape your approach behind the scenes as the VP of operations for the NBL?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, in our current construct, I'm not nearly as behind the scenes as vice president of any other organization might be. So,
okay.
We're grassroots. So you'll see me in communication with players, coaches, referees, running the shot clock, running the scoreboard, whatever needs to be done inside of the league, I actually may have my hands on. So I'm not relegated to just making decisions, behind the scenes. I'm very visible. But as far as my approach, I'm, everybody around the place calls me OG at this time because I'm, pretty much the oldest guy in the organization. So I'm still a father figure, which the mentoring side just comes natural. And I enjoy that role more so than anything. What goes on between the lines, I leave that to coaches and, our trainers and other staff. I'm there, just to kind of keep things moving forward and make sure that things are kind of straight and peaceful as they need to be.
Okay, you mentioned that you touch a little bit of everything, and then the guys that are in the league call you OG. Have you ever been called Unc?
Of course. And I'm still not accustomed to it. I'm just
okay.
I'm not.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, how do you take that? Because, I'm at that point now too, where, that kid, younger men are calling me Unc, different things like that. Hey, old fella, young. I'm like, okay. I guess that's a little different. So you mentioned being a father figure. I know that your dad was the best coach that you ever had. So, two-part question. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to talk about your dad's influence, your grandfather's influence, and how that has informed your leadership philosophy. And then on the coaching part, since your dad was your best coach, I want you to tell me who would be on your Mount Rushmore of coaches.
Okay. So, man. Wow, Dad. He was my example. Yes, he was my first athletic coach, but he was my first coach in life. So if you would have to go to coaching philosophy, I would have to say that my father was stern, but he was fair. So, and it's funny, I was talking with my sister today, and the worst thing in the world to have my father ever say was that he was disappointed in me. So, and it was just that simple. And those were the exact words. Hey son, I'm disappointed in you. And whatever came after that, it didn't really matter. So, again, stern but fair, and he was a teacher. My father was the kind of guy, for instance, Dad, all-state basketball player, went to Grambling, never made a B in his life. But at the drop of a hat, he quit school to go and help my grandmother with his 6 other siblings because she got sick. So he was that kind of guy. And my grandfather was an excellent baseball player in his day, joined the Army. And my grandfather's biggest influence on my life was his honesty. He was honest about who he was. He was honest about the life that he lived. He taught me life lessons, and more so than anything I'd have to say, he taught me how to deal with adversity. Because he was the first person to ever tell me that, hey, son, it is possible that you do everything right, and you still may not get the result that you want. And after that happens, what do you do next? So from him, I learned resilience. As far as Mount Rushmore of coaching, I would have to say John Thompson, Belichick, Dean Smith, and although I am a Carolina guy, I'd have to say Krzyzewski.
Did it hurt to say that?
Immensely.
Hey, that is I thought I had my John Thompson book sitting behind me, but I'm reading the John Thompson autobiography, right? I personally, I'm looking for that next coaching giant. I'm looking for that next black male. We got Dawn Staley on the women's side, right?
Sure.
She is an absolute giant. But just personally, I'm looking for that next giant. I'm looking for that John Thompson, that Big House Gaines. I'm looking for the John Chaney.
So are you thinking specifically basketball or period?
I was thinking specifically basketball. But
okay.
since you mentioned that, man, as soon as you said that, Mike Tomlin,
Yes.
kind of popped into my head. I think he's a giant as well.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and some would say Deion Sanders, the influence that he's had. I am a bit more critical of Deion than some others. I cannot at all be critical of the effect that he's had on college football, the excitement that he brings. Hell, what he's done for Jackson State as an HBCU in popularity have all been great. I do question Deion as an X's and O's coach personally, but I do appreciate the influence that he's had. And if nothing else, he is questioning some things that I believe need to be questioned throughout sport, period, not just in the NCAA.
I agree with you. I wouldn't consider myself a Deion fan.
Nor would I.
But I like what he's doing.
Yes.
Again, I think you brought up a good point about the X's and O's, but Deion's not a dummy because he has surrounded himself with people.
Yes.
Who can help him get the job done. All right, TJ, let me ask this. What's the hardest thing about growing the National Basketball League that nobody really knows?
Oh man, that's easy. It is the competition for eyes. We have what is probably the most amazing opportunity in basketball in the United States outside of the NBA and the WNBA. You can be an unsigned basketball player, not have touched the college floor, not have touched any organized basketball, come into our league, pay your dues, and be a professional overseas. That could take 6 months. It could take 6 years. But you have a clear path to professional international basketball here in the, at the NBL United States. But the hardest part about that is just getting people to accept that we don't play NBA basketball. We play FIBA.
Yeah.
So no one really exactly knows what FIBA is, and no one talks about FIBA unless we're talking about the Olympics or, the World Games. So introducing this new brand of basketball, actually getting people to understand that the opportunity not only is there, but it's real. And we have receipts. I can't give you an exact number, but we put several young men into professional situations overseas at this point.
That's good. That's good. And the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there. So what's the easiest thing about being the VP of the NBL?
Man, the easiest thing, honestly, is just being in the gym, being a part of something that you believe in, that is going to be successful beyond the success that we've already had, and that's growing. And really just giving people an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have. The kid that was maybe a late bloomer, or the kid who graduates and shoots up 6-7 inches, or played in a small school in a small town. We got a young man from Port Neches, Texas, averaged like 24, 25 points a game, right at 6 feet tall, good shooter, good kid. No offers. Saw him at an All-American showcase. Gave him an opportunity, played 2 seasons, 2 championships in our league. And this past season, he was able to play professionally in Thailand. He's 19 years old.
Outstanding.
He's only 19 from Port Neches. Nobody's ever heard of him. Shout out to Ian. What's up, Ice? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Nobody even knew who the guy was, but now he's a pro.
Man, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Listen, people, you may not know about FIBA, but please learn, because I'm telling you, if France puts a foot in the United States backside in this next Olympics,
it would not be a surprise.
Hey, learn the FIBA game. Get familiar with the FIBA game. It's the international game. Okay, so you run the shot clock. Sometimes you sit at the table. You do a lot of different things. So from your perspective, who do you think has the harder job, the coaches or the officials?
Man, I would have to say the officials. I'd have to say the officials. Especially in a basketball game, there's, milliseconds. You go from offense to defense. A call, one way or the other can shift the whole momentum and mood of a game. And I would imagine that from an official's perspective, you don't ever want to be the person or the thing that decides the output that happens or the outcome of the game. You don't ever want to do that. You want it to be, settled between the lines.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Before I ask this next question, it's the funniest thing to me. I just keep telling the story. Man, I had the opportunity to officiate 5 games a couple of weeks ago, boom, high school boys. And man, it was a great eye-opening experience for me. Because when I tell you I could have blown the whistle every trip down the floor, I could have blown the whistle every trip down the floor. And the parents are sitting over there talking about travel. And I'm like, travel. And then, man, I was fumbling my whistle on one. My whistle was late, right? It's an and one. The coach says that whistle was weak and late. I said, you are correct. It was weak, it was late, and it was right. And one. So, all right, TJ, man, if you could be anything other than involved in the NBL or a former athlete, what would you be?
Professionally or just
what? If I could do anything other than what I do now, this is what I would do. You say what?
I'm already doing it. I'm a dad. That's all I ever really wanted, man. And people ask me that, I've had that question before.
Yeah.
I wanted to be 3 things, man. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, a husband, and a father. Everything else that I've ever done as far as work or whatever has just been, has revolved around that.
That's good stuff. So you've been able to achieve that balance.
I don't think the balance exists. I think that we're constantly shifting the time. I don't think that there's an actual, family life balance. I think that for me anyway, everything that I do outside of my home, I'm doing consciously to try to make what goes on inside of my home more peaceful.
Good. That's good. I had a guest last week said it this way. It's not so much a work-life balance, it's work-life rhythm. And then you find that rhythm, and then you ride that rhythm. I thought that was really good. All right, TJ, man, humor me just for a second, okay? Play a game with me. Play a game of rapid fire with me, okay? You ready for this?
Let's go.
All right, let's do this. So I want you to think of these as kind of rapid fire, right? So first thing that comes to mind, that's the answer I want, okay? All right, here we go. John Thompson or Coach K?
John Thompson.
Playing or coaching?
Oh, playing, definitely.
The bat flip. Good for the game or disrespectful?
Love it. But if I'm pitching, you getting one by the chest.
you gonna get one next time you come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Leaders. Are they born or made?
Both.
Ooh, like that.
Both.
Basketball or baseball?
Still basketball.
Reliever or starter?
Starter, definitely.
Okay. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Hard work always beats talent.
Unfortunately, disagree.
Okay. Agree or disagree? You don't need to be a coach to have a real impact on players.
Agree.
Okay. One more agree, disagree. The game is changing faster than we can adapt to it.
Ooh. Yeah, I agree. I actually do agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well. All right, I got a few more for you. You ready? Here we go. Favorite athlete growing up?
Jordan. Who else?
Okay. One word that can sum up leadership.
Patience.
Okay. Last question right here. What's your go-to advice as a mentor?
So many. My favorite. Feelings don't change facts, but facts can change feelings.
That is. That's good. I like that. That's good stuff. Man, I appreciate you playing that little game of rapid fire with me. We got some good stuff there. I think our watchers and listeners get a little more insight into our guests when we play that. All right, T. Man, we're about 50 minutes in, which means, man, we're coming down to the end of this thing. This brings us to crunch time. Let me tell you how crunch time works. So for crunch time, we like to go 3, 2, and 1. So we go 3 in the key. 3 things that all coaches or athletic professionals need. 2 shots, 2 of the most difficult or foul things that you have experienced. And then and 1. That'll be anything that you want to share before we get out of here today. So we're going to start crunch time off with 3 in the key. TJ Williams, give us 3 things that all coaches or athletic professionals need.
Motivation, patience, and good communication skills.
Motivation, patience, and good communication skills. Talk about motivation just for a sec. Why motivation?
Well, you got to be motivated to get up every day and try to bring about your vision for a team, for a company, or whatever else, because coaching does not just extend to the field or to the floor. And get however many people you have on that team to buy into and therefore carry out your vision. So it takes motivation to be able to get up and do that, because you're not going to be successful day 1. You're not going to be successful day 2. You may not be successful day 32, but there has to be something inside of you that keeps you coming back to continue to work towards whatever that goal is.
That's good. 3 in the key. Motivation, patience, and great communication skills. All right, this brings us to 2 shots. You know, I'm a basketball coach. 2 of the most difficult or foul things that you have experienced in your athletic journey. What you got?
AAU in general, as a construct and an organization, and coaches having vendettas against players.
That's good. And, you know, I tell you, as a coach, it is that small number of coaches that hold those vendettas against players that make it tough for all coaches, no matter what level you're coaching on, because it only has to happen once or be seen once for all coaches to kind of be labeled as that coach holds grudges. That coach does this. That coach does that. Oh, man. Yeah, that's foul. What is your beef with the AAU construct?
It's a money grab. It's just a money grab. And it is really why our league exists, in the sense that you can have a young man, young lady start playing in this organization at 6 years old. Some of these people are charging $6,000 and $8,000 for a summer of basketball. All they do is stockpile talent. There's no real instruction, no real teaching. We're not, breaking kids down fundamentally and making them bigger, stronger, faster. We're taking money, We're trying to out-talent everybody. You know, we claim that, we go to the elite tournaments and this guy's going to be there, this coach is going to be there. The coaches aren't there. And then when you're 17, 18 years old as a senior, we just send you out into the wild if you don't have an offer. So it works for the highest levels of kids, but those kids who are top 300, 500 in the country, we're always going to get looks.
Right.
So what about the developmental kid? What about the kid that needs a little bit more work? What about a John Morant who played on the team, on the AAU team with Zion Williamson? Ja was playing in the second gym, and a coach just happened to be going to get some chips and saw this amazingly athletic young man who was a little bit undersized.
Yeah.
And there are stories like that exist now that used to exist everywhere, but those stories don't happen quite as often because we're seeing the scope of sport change from get it out the mud to who can hire this trainer, who can spend this money on this guy and that guy. So we're not going to see as many of those hardscrabble cases, in my opinion. It's, kids are being priced out of the sport.
And that is the issue that I have. I do not want our sport, my sport, that I love so dearly, to become a money sport. I don't want it to become a money sport because that just can't happen. So here's my proposal. Okay, this is a very rough draft. Okay, bring back All-Star. Bring back All-Star. Okay, so now, but bringing back All-Star would mean that we need to figure out how to bring back our rec leagues. Okay, So I was in the gym. It was a live period. So I went down to the gym. There's 8 courts in this particular gym. Okay, college coaches are, for the most part, on 1.5 courts. They're really at 1 court. You got a sprinkling of coaches on another court. Those other courts, there's no coaches at those other courts. Okay. Now, I think I paid $25 to get in that day.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was going to see a couple of my kids play. So I'm going to watch 2 games, 3 at tops, depending on what the schedule looks like. Okay. And I was like, man, this is a problem, because there were teams that were developmental. Developmental teams should not have been in that tournament. Okay. So my proposal is, let's bring back All-Star. Okay. Get your rec leagues. Rec league didn't cost a whole lot to play in. No. Right. So everybody gets to play in the rec league. You crown your rec league champ. You have your different age divisions. Once that is done, then you get your All-Star team. Then your All-Star team will play locally, regionally, statewide. You have those tournaments. Maybe they can go nationwide. And then those are the tournaments that your college coaches come to see. Now, for everybody else who didn't necessarily make the All-Star team, that's a good thing, because now you get back into the gym and develop. Now you get a chance to get back in the gym and develop. I don't know if All-Star, if that model would ever come back. It's a very rough verbal draft of where I think we need to go. But A, we don't need to price kids out. B, it's a money grab. My kids need to play basketball more in the season as a high school coach in the off season. But I tell each one of my parents, that's a family decision, because it comes with a cost. Some programs are better than others. Some programs are just rolling the ball out. True story. And then I'm going to get off my soapbox, man. Went to watch one of my kids practice. This is about 6 or 7 years ago, because I like to go to select practices, right? Number one, it's free. It's not going to cost me anything. And then I'm going to get the opportunity to see if these kids are getting the chance to develop. 1 court. Walk into the gym, it's 1 court. I lied to you not. It's 120 kids in there. 120 kids. No way in the world kids are getting developed in there. Kids aren't getting reps. Kids are not getting reps. So, man, let me get off the soapbox. Kids need to play. Actually, before I get off the soapbox, I need to big up the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. We do something here in the state of Texas that I don't know if it's replicated anywhere else in the country. So as high school coaches, we are allowed to coach our kids at the TABC Showcase. It is a live viewing period for college coaches. When I tell you, I don't know what the boys' events are like, but I'm sure they're packed because our events on the girls' side, it's got the who's who in college coaches at the TABC tournament. And you know what our parents pay at the door? $10. $10. There's 9 courts in there. Every team in the state of Texas is there. The best of the best in 6A, 5A, 4A on down. And there's a who's who of college coaches there. So our kids get to experience that. Our parents get to experience that. It's one of the best things going on in the country. So that model, if we can figure out how to replicate that, if we can figure out how to bring All-Star back, and I'm off my soapbox. That was a much longer rant. I'm sorry, man. I went on a rant there.
Hey, man, it's needed. These conversations need to be had throughout youth sports. I don't like the direction of youth sports. I don't like the early professionalism and professionalizing of these kids. I totally disagree with a kid ever just playing one sport all the way through. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. You can learn so much and develop so much just from playing a variety of different sports.
This is what I do in the summer. So I come in, I work the kids out, but I don't work the strength and conditioning portion anymore because I want my kids to be coached by other coaches. I want them to go in there and get instruction. I'm one of the few coaches that I know that pushes their kids to play multiple sports. Number one, it's a health thing. You don't need to be using the same muscles. Pounding the same joints all year round. Do some different movements. Then go get coached by somebody else. At the school, go and help your school win. Go and help your school win. When coaches tell a kid they can't play more than one sport, I question. I know it's about the coach's ego. But I question, how are you preparing your kids, coach? If that kid has to play that sport all year round for your program to be successful, do we really care about kids? I'm on another rant.
Well, and I mean, you can go on for hours. I know you could. But the one thing that I think that we all have to remember in whatever capacity, whether that is coach, general manager, VP, assistant coach, all the way down to, the principal of the school. In order to be what I consider a success, you have to be a servant. We are here for these athletes. We are here to service them. We are here to help aid them to be successful, whether that is on the court, on the field, in the classroom, or eventually post-career in whatever avenue they choose. We're here to serve. That's the most important part of this job. And people very often, lose focus on the service part. Yes, winning is great. Everybody wants to win. I'm sure as not just competition on the court, but I know you coaches talk about who did what and how your teams did and whatnot. It's just natural. But success can be measured on a bunch of different levels. So yes, we went 35-4, but if none of our kids qualify to go to college, what are we doing? That's only self-serving. We're not servicing the student athlete anymore.
That's it. And we have to do a better job of that. TJ, that's going to be our and one, because that was an outstanding point to end this conversation on. Listen, for those of you watching or listening, Mr. MP13 said that's a fact. Mr. MP13, I don't know where you're watching from, but I greatly appreciate it. All right, listen, thank you for joining us here on the Coaches Co-op. Big thanks to our guest, the VP of the National Basketball League United States, TJ Williams, Thomas Williams Jr. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom. Listen, y'all, if you're walking away with new insight or energy for your team, for your program, for your position, then we did our job. Go to YouTube, hit that like button, follow, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review if you are listening on Apple Podcasts. Listen, where can you find the podcast? Go here. Follow us on IG, podcast_with_Prejean. Go ahead and follow the National Basketball League on IG at the US_NBL, or you can find the National Basketball League United States on Facebook. For TJ Williams, TJ, hang back with me just for a sec as I get us out of here. For TJ Williams, I'm Coach P. You've been listening or watching to the Coaches Co-op. And remember, here in the co-op, coaches do what most people can't. Until next time, y'all be easy.